What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and MCU. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and today it looks like we could possibly have some details about the upcoming MCU X-Men film. And I am specifically talking about the film, a movie, not when the X-Men are going to pop up here and there, but the specific X-Men titled film that is going to be coming to the MCU that will have the X-Men team. Today we have a new report from Screen Geek, and they claim to know some plot details about that first X-Men film, who the possible team could be, and even a slight connection to World War Hulk, which of course we've been talking about a lot lately, since She-Hulk so blatantly and obviously set up events for another Hulk film. Now, World War Hulk is the rumored plot for the upcoming Hulk film, but I, for one, since the X-Men are coming to the MCU, would really love to see a Hulk versus Wolverine movie. I doubt we'll get that anytime soon, but anytime I hear X-Men and the Hulk together, that's what I hope for and that's what I think of. But let's dive into this Screen Geek article, talk about what it says, break it down, and of course, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news. So at screengeek.net, we go to the article and the title is Exclusive. Plot details for X-Men MCU movie revealed. And this was posted yesterday, September 20th. And we won't read the whole thing because not all of it applies to what we're talking about, but let's start with the beginning and go up to the X-Men report. It starts by saying, when Disney finally got the movie rights back to various Marvel characters in 2017 after the company's deal to acquire 20th Century Fox, many fans thought that the X-Men would be the first on the list to get a reboot. Fast forward to 2022, and an X-Men movie has yet to be announced. Some thought that an update would come during this year's San Diego Comic-Con or D23, but it never happened. Although there is no release date for Marvel's upcoming X-Men movie, we do have new plot details. And here is their official report. Our sources have told us that Marvel Studios' current plan is for the MCU's X-Men film to be based on Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men run. Astonishing X-Men was a comic book series continuation of Grant Morrison's New X-Men. Whedon's run began in 2004 and ended in 2008. We'll talk more about this in a bit, but let's finish what they state in their report. They continue to say, it's unclear which X-Men team the studio plans on using, but it's worth noting that the lineup in that series was Cyclops and Emma Frost, who were the team leaders, and also included Beast, Kitty Pryde, Wolverine, and Colossus. That group was also featured in various limited series, including World War Hulk, X-Men. And that is their report. It's not too big, but it is something. Now, keep in mind, this is not confirmed, and even if it was, things can still change. There's a long time before we actually get that X-Men film. However, I do believe there is a big, important Cyclops connection here. And I want to talk about that before we dive into the actual X-Men team and the story of the runs that was mentioned in this article. I think Cyclops is going to play a very big role in the MCU's X-Men team. And I think Marvel has been teasing us with that in a very subtle and sly way. If you've been keeping up with Marvel news, you know that Marvel Studios released concept art for Miss Marvel for Avengers Con that was never actually put in any episode of the series, but the concept art showed Avengers Con and somebody cosplaying as Cyclops, specifically Cyclops in his X-Men uniform. Most of you have already heard me mention this already, but this basically does confirm that an actual team already exists in the MCU. If it was just Cyclops on his own without the team, he wouldn't be wearing the X-Men uniform. Nobody would be cosplaying as an X-Men character if the X-Men didn't exist. Then, of course, in the last episode of She-Hulk, while the credits were rolling, we saw Pug, and he was looking at his shoes, and he was looking at the new Iron Man 3s, and in the background, we saw a lot of other superhero shoes as well. And in the back, mixed with all of the other shoes on the racks, we saw very clearly some Cyclops shoes. But here's the thing, we know that Marvel Studios doesn't ever do anything unintentionally. They put a lot of thought into everything that they do. So I fully believe that this was very intentional, releasing the concept art that showed Cyclops that was never actually put in any of the episodes, teasing us of Cyclops, and then again in She-Hulk, not just teasing us of Cyclops, but of Deadpool, of Cable, of The Thing, and many more superheroes. Marvel knows exactly what they're doing, which is why I believe that Cyclops really is probably in the MCU already and is going to play a major role of the X-Men team. He's probably going to be Professor Xavier's right-hand man. Nothing new there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Cyclops before we saw Professor X. Now, they mentioned that the story could be based off of Joss Whedon's astonishing X-Men run, and this is actually 4 different stories, and 2 of them were limited series. Now, it's worth noting that the series as a whole ended in 2018, but this report specifically talks about Joss Whedon's run. Now, there's a lot that goes down during these stories, but there are a few things that you need to know that could very heavily play into the MCU's X-Men arc. This could be a little example of what we could be in for. One is that this story, Joss Whedon wanted to be independent of all of the other big crossover stories from Marvel Comics, like House of M, Civil War, Avengers vs. the X-Men, and so on. So basically, in this story, this particular story, those events never happened, and we could be facing something like that in the MCU if Secret Wars kind of does a reset of the MCU. Because that's a big question a lot of people have right now. Have the X-Men been around the entire time? And if they have, how exactly have they not been mentioned yet? How have we not discovered them? How does Doctor Strange not know about them? Or the previous Sorcerer Supreme, or Wong? Hopefully this question gets answered soon. So perhaps this story could be independent of current events in the MCU, perhaps doing a reboot, but the second thing that you need to know is that this story does involve the mutant cure. We saw this storyline kind of in X-Men: The Last Stand. The story also includes Sentinels and defending the world from an alien race. Now, the alien race is something that I could definitely see happening along with the Sentinels as well. I think there could be sort of a fusion of a Sentinel / kind of an Iron Legion type of thing. We know that Armor Wars is going to be all about when Tony Stark's technology, his Iron Man technology, gets into the wrong hands. And if they're going to try and keep the continuity of the MCU before the X-Men happen in Phase 7, which I do believe they should, I don't think they should reboot, but if they keep it the same, this could be a great segue into the Sentinels. And as far as them defending Earth from an alien race, I think a lot of that is about to go down with Secret Invasion. I for one think Secret Invasion is going to be a lot bigger than we expect it to be, and a lot more important and impactful on the MCU than we expect it to be as well. I do believe this will set up a lot of future events that will take place that are going to be pretty significant. Even without the X-Men and the Fantastic Four coming into the MCU, I do believe the MCU is about to change in a very, very big way. The multiverse is essentially about to burst open. Technically, it already did at the end of Loki. But with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania introducing Kang the Conqueror and probably more than one variant of Kang, and then Loki Season 2 deep diving into the multiverse, it's all about to explode. Then on top of that, we are diving into the supernatural side of the MCU with Blade, hopefully Ghost Rider. We got that Donnie Blaze tease, and She-Hulk, hopefully Johnny Blaze, the actual Ghost Rider, is coming soon. We have the street level team with Daredevil returning and Born Again, and the recent reports of the Punisher returning and Jessica Jones. So we have that street level, and then we're going to have the cosmic side. The remaining Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova, Adam Warlock, Captain Marvel, and hopefully a lot of other really cool characters. And then of course, we have the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. I think the future is bright, and I wouldn't personally mind Cyclops kind of being our main leader of the X-Men when they first get introduced. And I wouldn't mind seeing the X-Men help defend Earth from an alien threat. It's probably too soon when they first get introduced to go on and start talking about a mutant cure. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Would you like this if this ends up being true? Let me know down below. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all MCU news. For live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.